Congratulations to Santa Barbara. They're a good team. They came in here and played really hard and played a lot of passion, a lot of fight, and gave us a lot to deal with. Certainly in that first half, and I thought as the game went on, we really grew into the game and felt really in control in the second half and overtimes. And it's the margins are tight. With the conditions of slip and a great finish by the striker who's been good for them all year was the difference in the end, and we've been on both sides of that. So it's tough. It's a real gutted locker room because they felt they had so much more in them, and it's gonna take a while, I think, for the guys to understand what they did. I just told them I was proud of them and what they did to represent the program this year in particular with so many new faces that we had to rely on. I thought was incredible, and we tried to step back a few times during the season and understand kind of what was going on this year, and yet not lose sight of seeing what we could do to maximize this group. And I thought again today it was another good performance and getting guys put out of their comfort zones a little bit, and we're able to be pretty effective on the day.
I'll start you with a positive question. Is this seemed more early in your tenure? You were this week 16 seemed like your ceiling, and you were going on the road. The last 4 or 5 years, this has been more of your floor. What have you done to basically turn your floor into your ceiling? I know that's a weird thing to ask, but it kind of seems that's what it's.
Well, I mean, every team, every matchup, every scenario is a little bit different. So, I mean, a lot of teams are putting banners up for Sweet 16s, and we don't take them lightly. Trust me, it's not easy to get to this stage. And when you've been to 20 college cups, yeah, it doesn't seem like it's as far as you like to go, does it? That's the nature of our success. So we're driven to be there, and we have no qualms of saying that's where our goal is each and every year, regardless of who we return and who we don't return. It's lofty goals, but one we set pretty clear standards, and that's why guys want to come here and play here. They want an opportunity to be in the mix for that.
And you have to be excited for next year, right? Given all
your we're young. I can't even get my head around it right now, but yeah, I mean, you just look at it on the paper, and we got a lot of nice players in the fold for next year. But every year is so uniquely I don't know if there's many out there that would have said they're two-title Big Ten champs and a five seed and a little bit away from another Elite Eight with the team that returned one starter. So every team is different and every challenge every year. So we'll get into that when we have some time to reflect a little bit more.
Just 3 months ago, Friday night of Labor Day weekend, you guys were down 2-0 to Pittsburgh at halftime. Is it kind of crazy just to see how far this team has come in those 3 months from a team that was struggling against Pittsburgh to one that's on the verge of the Elite Eight?
Yeah, no doubt this team came a long way. That was a really tough half. It wasn't really, a little bit of an outlier, but it did show like, whoa, and how quickly, we turn that game and find a good result, and the confidence that we could build from a young team versus if we don't find a way and we lose that game 3-0 and just say, okay, it was a tough day, but what happened in the next 2, 3, 4 games? Which in those cases we're winning overtime games and kind of got us started. So, yeah, I mean, we've come a long way. I mean, our maturity of our young players, I feel like they're now like 2 years older than they were when they got here in seasons. And that's a credit to them. I mean, we give them as best we can, but they're out there performing. I didn't kick a ball at it this year, and thank goodness I didn't, because they're pretty good. But these guys have come a long way in every way.
Coach, this team is just not accustomed to losing at home. I mean, it's been since 2016. Does it make it tougher on the upperclassmen and yourself that here at home this has been a haven for you guys, and then a shocking slip and shocking?
Yeah, no, I mean, we've had a great run here. I mean, our record at home is really good, and I think largely is that. I mean, obviously there's a comfort, but the field's great. The guys can always play. And our fans are fantastic. I mean, I think that always gives us an edge. Like any team that has a great fan base, with whether it's the band or students, and many today, I give the fans a lot of credit for coming out today. It was really tough out there to bear that, and we have a better day. I think we have maybe 2,000 more fans, and our guys feed off that. So I think the environment, the comfort, the field, all plays into it. But we've been pretty good on the road too. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wouldn't say that's been just one-way street. So we're appreciative of the great support we have here.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry.
It's one of those things that can happen to anybody, but obviously Jordan Collins with the fall that leads to the goal. I mean, have you said anything? What do you say to someone like that who's kind of given his all for the last 5 years to his program?
It's not that moment is not what defines him or the season, and I think that's where you have to just get out of your own head a little bit, understand that one, he played a fantastic game all day for a player who hasn't played many minutes up until this point at center back since early. Played a great game, and we talk about it for the game conditions and where we take risks, and it just was off the wrong foot and he slips trying to recover to that foot and give Santa Barbara credit. There's a lot of good finishing that went on in that finish. So no, we're going to move on quickly from that, because that doesn't define what Jordan does or anything with this team.
You talk about how you guys grew into the game in the second half, but did it feel like not finishing some earlier chances sort of left the outcome to fate, a slip, penalty kicks, whatever?
Yeah, there's no doubt that, it's margins are tight. We knew, finishes would need to be low and maybe we get a second chance. We felt things were coming. We really did, no doubt. And, it wasn't like every time we didn't take the best opportunity. It wasn't like, oh boy, that's, there wasn't that thought in my mind. This team has given us so much positive energy and moments, especially late overtime. The game looked a little bit PK destined, quite honestly, in that second overtime. They started subbing in overtime. That's often a sign, too, that they're not necessarily, of course they're trying to win it, but even some of their players, where they're putting them, I thought was interesting in the overtime on, let's potentially get to penalties here, because we were on top of them in that phase of the game.
Obviously this is a little bit in the future, but how long do you kind of take before you start kind of assessing your program and who stays and who leaves and that type of ordeal, looking ahead to next season?
Tomorrow. I won't talk to a lot of the players about it, but that's the nature of what we do. It's as we say in the coaching world, it's ephemeral. It's like it's gone quickly. So anytime you give a rose to someone, it's quickly dead. That's the same way you feel, like whether it's good or bad. And as coaches, we have to move on and assess. We're going to take a lot of time to reflect, but in our preparation, that's going on during the season, next year and the year beyond. So it never stops, as does the players. They're always looking to get better, not for now, but also in the future. So, we'll dig in more of it, but it's not like it's we just do this now in the off season. It's kind of an ongoing process, and I just want to give enough time to spend with these guys, in these next couple weeks before school's out, just to make sure everyone's in a good place, and regroup, and you can't just squeeze it immediately. The guys need some time to not just go, well, next year it starts now. They don't need to hear that right now. They need to just get through this time, and we'll in the back area prepare for the group. But I think that's where we got a little bit smarter through the years of not kind of squeezing the orange a little bit too much in the months that sometimes don't have a huge impact on the year in the near future.
Sometimes you don't see it on the field, but just how important over the course of the year is Jack Mayer, a guy that always seems composed, always seems ready to go. Just such an amazing guy to have in the locker room.
Yeah, Jack is he's clutch, and that's the best way to describe him. In big games, big moments, he shows up every day to training. His mentality, the way he gets players to feel confident and knows how to talk to a lot of different personalities is a gift. It really is. And we look at his skill set on the field, and he's a wonderful player, but he just makes everyone better. And that's the ultimate compliment you can give to someone. And, that's the position that he plays, whether that be a goalkeeper, a center back, or a center midfielder. That, what you give out in that way to make all the other pieces feel good about their role and push the button at the right time, know how to talk to a guy when he needs a little uplifting or get into him. You can't teach that. You give him moments to understand, like, hey, that's maybe the time to do it, but it's like a feel, and he's got it. We just kind of manage it and keep You can give them other examples, but great leader.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.